Tell me where to go, what to do. Get it poppin', put it.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Neutral News Network. I'm Brian, along with Zach today. We are here on a Tuesday, not a Wednesday, mostly because Zach has plans tomorrow, and we've neglected you enough with not having videos for quite some time. So we figured we'd go ahead and have an episode today. Now, that goes without saying that, we didn't have as much time to plan for today. This is kind of a last minute decision for us to actually do the episode. So that's why you see the title here, where we're just kind of covering, obviously, the big ticket news item, which is the Israel and Iranian conflict that seems to be breaking out right before our eyes. Things have been, rather slow today on that news front, which is, good. Obviously, we don't want to see regional wars break out anytime. Obviously, it makes for good news covering and things like that. But obviously, real people are affected, and real lives have been lost already in this conflict. So, the less news is technically the better. So, without further ado, we'll go ahead and crack into the ground news articles that we usually cover, and we're going to go ahead and look at the economics. So companies asked the Supreme Court to quickly hear Trump's tariff challenge, and I mean, that makes sense. Uh, Obviously, these tariffs have been going back and forth now through the courts for a few months, and we've been really kind of struggling, I'd say, to kind of figure out where we're going to go next. So these companies are asking the Supreme Court to kind of be that final arbiter and determine what's going to happen. And obviously, the sooner the better, because these companies, they need to order product, they need to make sure that they can sell their product, they need to make sure they can price their goods efficiently and effectively. So obviously, the sooner that you have a more concrete determination on what actual tariffs are going to be put into place, the better. Moving on to the next, the Trump tax bill would widen deficits by $2.8 trillion after factoring in economic impact. Um, yeah, so this has been a recent development with believe it's the Big Beautiful Bill that's been proposed in the House and now eventually is going to go into the Senate. Uh, that the Congressional Budget Office, the CBO, which is a nonpartisan kind of a overview of the congressional budgets that get sent out, they've come out and said that this bill would blow out the deficit. Um, and obviously it's kind of counterintuitive to what Republicans typically run on, which is fiscal conservancy and things of that nature. So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. I know there are actually a lot of conservative Republicans, traditionalists in regards to spending, who have voiced their displeasure with the bill, and some of them actually, generated some ire from the MAGA movement. And it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I believe some of them are Thomas Massey and Rand Paul, just to name a couple, who are quite vocal in their opposition to how the bill is currently laid out. And last but not least, Amazon says it will reduce its human workforce as AI replaces human employees. This is not a shock. AI has become more and more powerful. Um, just within the last couple of years, I remember back in 2023, um, thinking to myself like, "Wow, this is gonna be a big deal in the coming years." And here we are, a few years later, and there's AI has come a long way. Let's put it that way. And obviously, Amazon having the mass amount of money and resources to be able to put into AI generation and develop their own AI software and things of that nature. Of course, they're going to try and find ways to save money and cut costs when possible. And most times, when it comes to businesses, employee and labor um, are your highest overhead costs. Because, yes, employees generate value for the company, but they're also some of the most expensive things to maintain. Benefits aren't free, but obviously, in my opinion, you should still be paid a fair and living wage and earn your benefits as well. But they're expensive, so companies are going to try and find ways to cut costs, and this is one of those ways. All right. Well, Zachary, I would say we can, on that same note, we can kind of tell them what we were planning on doing if you'd like. Something that's new, something that's coming to the Neutral News Network, and something that we're hoping to bring to you guys as soon as possible, really.
Yeah, it's more or less ready at this point. We're just doing some, we'll call it QA, but basically we'll have, um, we kind of developed a program that's going to curate news stories from across the country and across the world. Uh, it's going to kind of put all these stories together, summarize it, hit all the key points, and then it's going to essentially act as a news broadcast to give those news stories to you, the people. So uh, videos will be anywhere from longest I've seen kind of the program generate is about 12 and a half minutes. That was covering a fair few stories. It'll have some stories that it just kind of glances over, hits the key points, and then kind of moves on. And then it will have select stories where it will do kind of a deeper dive, give you more background, more information, that kind of stuff. But the idea is something that we can put out on a daily basis to start. That's going to be, a quick, here's everything that's happened recently, get caught up, and you're good to go. The goal eventually is to have it running 24/7 So you essentially have a 24/7 newscast with updated stories, the latest news, that kind of stuff that you can go reference and listen to whenever you want. Uh, it'll be a little bit before it gets to that point, just because that's going to get pricey real fast. But uh, the being able to get a video out every day with a news broadcast, essentially, we're pretty much ready for that after a little QA. So really, really looking forward to that. I think potentially what I can do here real quick is give the folks a little snippet of how it works.
That would be perfect. And then once you get that pulled up on your screen, if you've got it, I will flip over on my screen to get us prepared to talk about the um, Israel-Iran conflict.
Yeah. Let me do. This is what happens when you do stuff on the fly. Uh, are less prepared than you maybe otherwise would be.
Hey, you know what though? We're doing it for the people.
Right. Oh. Huh? Module not found.
Oh, so much better. Is it auto light? Oh man, ground news. Kind of defaulted dark theme.
Right. No. Okay. Well, for some reason, hold on. I know. I don't know what I did. Boy. All right. Try this again, shall we?
Sounds good.
Nope, that was not the problem. What happened? I haven't touched it. Okay, well, I cannot in fact show the people because it just doesn't start anymore. Which is crazy because I haven't
Oh,
touched it since the last time it ran fine. So,
I do kind of want to. This is very interesting. I actually like one of these stories. I actually haven't heard anything about. Because Kirsty Nome was apparently hospitalized in DC.
allergic reaction,
Oh, allergic reaction.
what
Interesting.
I saw.
Huh.
So I don't know if this is going to work without this other part running. Oh, kind of seems like it did. Okay. So let me pop this into here. Yeah.
Few details disclosed. Interesting.
So,
Oh, perfect. There you go. Okay.
I'm going to flip over to my thing now.
Mhm.
And it should start playing here in a second.
Okay. I'll keep an eye on the YouTube stream to make sure that it flips over.
Good evening and welcome to the Neutral
I'm
News
assuming
Network.
you can see it too,
Our
though.
top story tonight is a federal court ruling impacting passport regulations for transgender and
The
non-binary
video's a little cut off
individuals.
because
A judge has issued an injunction
I
preventing
can't
the current
technically full
administration
screen
from
it, although I
restricting
could,
the
I
sex
suppose.
markers available on United
I
States
switched over on
passports
YouTube.
for a significant portion of
Yeah.
the transgender and non-binary population. This decision stems from a lawsuit challenging the government's policy. The ruling effectively maintains existing practices, allowing for a broader range of sex designations on passports. The judge's order cites concerns about potential violations of constitutional rights. The Department of State, under President Trump's administration, has yet to publicly comment on the ruling or indicate whether it intends to appeal the decision. Legal experts anticipate further legal challenges regarding the matter. The ruling is seen by some as a victory for LGBTQ+ rights advocates, while others express concerns about potential security implications. The impact of this decision on passport application processes remains to be seen. The judge's decision emphasizes the complexities surrounding gender identity and governmental identification procedures.
Okay. So that's essentially how it works. it takes stories, so you can see all the different stories it would
In
read
other
off
news,
over here.
a revised
And yeah, it just goes through and it gives you the highs and the lows. So looking
Awesome.
forward to getting that going.
Yeah, absolutely. We've realized that a lot of news happens in between the week, and we want this to be an outlet for individuals who are watching to get as much information as they can. Um, we realize that you know we want to be kind of that neutral news outlet that people can go to and rely on, and not have just a ton of spin left or right that you potentially get while watching it on TV, or potentially getting it from, outside news sources. I actually just saw uh, something the other day that said that I believe it was social media is now the most popular way to get your news, and that makes me cry a little bit. I mean, I guess technically what we could be doing is social media, but I just don't feel like it's necessarily done as responsibly as it could be. So, anywho, one of the things that I want to get cracking on is the Israel-Iran conflict. So, all right, Zachary, what are your thoughts? Quickly, give me your entire summary on the entire situation.
Well, basically, nothing about any of this makes sense. In the sense
Oh,
that, not that, like, I understand why it is happening, but
okay.
also it didn't need to. The Israel has been saying that Iran's going to have a nuke anytime now, since as early as at least 2012. So it's
Mhm.
not like they have all of a sudden, oh, sorry, just watched the Reds lose their lead because Jake Fraley
Oh
batted
no.
the ball over the fence.
Oh no.
Yeah.
ESPN not top 10 coming in hot.
But anyway, uh, so there, well, Iran has, especially since the U.S. pulled out of nuclear deal, Iran has for sure expanded their processing capabilities, essentially, but they still aren't too close to a bomb. Like, they're not that far off, but they're not, we needed to strike them today because we fear for our lives close. So,
Mhm.
if you believe that Trump was having talks with Iran or wanted to actually have those talks, this striking doesn't make sense.
Mhm.
You could have still waited, still got a new deal done, and everything would have been fine. But alas, here we are. As
Mhm.
far as will the U.S. get involved, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if we do, but I
Mhm.
honestly don't know.
So, kind of building off that point, um, uh, I think the Trump administration has kind of proven that. Oh, I see that you vanished. But I think that the Trump administration has kind of proven that they are enforcing a peace through strength type doctrine in this scenario. Like they want to flex the muscles, and I think that that's you know, while it might be more brash of an approach, sticking a carrier strike group off the coast of a adversary nation, and I mean, I know they aren't probably going to put them all the way in the Red Sea next to Bahrain or Kuwait. It'll probably be off in the Mediterranean near Cyprus. That's my guess. Um, that's I feel like that's just kind of the administration's playbook here. Like that's the way they want to go about it. I, focus camera. Hello. My camera just totally dropped the ball on focus.
Tough. Hey,
I
there
was
you
about to
go.
say,
You
like, I have
just
to.
be that close the whole time.
Oh
Woof.
my god, Yeah, give me a second, guys. I don't know. Nope. Okay. Well,
Well,
uh,
congratulations. We
I
get blurry
guess
Brian
I'm just
today, I
gonna be
guess.
blurry for a second. Yeah, I don't even know why that happened, but anyways, regardless, yeah, I feel like just the administration is going for like a true show of force here, showing that like you're not going to win this, and whatever we want to happen is going to happen. Uh, and I think that's why. I think that Trump is just frankly pissed off. Like, the I think that there was a portion of it where something probably made him angry in this situation a couple weeks ago because I don't know if you recall, but a couple weeks ago there was um alerts and like news broadcasts of like these people are being evacuated from these embassies, like these people are being told to leave, and it was like all of these places in the Middle East, like where they were telling people to like, you guys should leave, you guys should leave, you guys should leave. So there was rumblings out there prior to this happening, but I don't think people expected it to kind of blow up as quickly as it did. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it kind of went from a hey, maybe you should consider getting out to all of a sudden shelter in place if you can't leave because the bombs are falling. So
Correct.
it
Yeah,
real fast.
and and what I will say was different this time around was that Tel Aviv like noticeably got struck this time.
Yeah, the last time
You know,
I think last year when Israel or not Israel, Iran launched all of their missiles, I don't recall a single one actually making it to its intended destination. I think there were some that just kind of landed in the middle of nowhere, but I don't
right?
remember any actually making it to where they thought it would go. Which
Yeah,
is in like you said, it is interesting. This time, not a ton have, but several have. It's not none.
correct. I mean, from what I've seen, and this was a number that I believe I saw yesterday, the day before. I mean, there's over 200 people that have already been killed so far. Estimates, just with this conflict as it's
Yeah,
broken
I
out. I mean, that's
if I
not a
rec-
small number.
yeah, last time I saw it was about 224 in Iran and 24
Mhm.
in Israel. That was this what I heard this morning. I have not actually seen since then.
So yeah, you
But
figure that's about 250 people.
yeah, but also Iran has now reached the point where they either are planning something big, which I did see some of Iranian channels mentioning that something would happen tonight that would live on in memory forever, basically. If I could find the
Interesting.
exact tweet, I would read it. But
So that's, if you can find it, pull it up
yeah.
for sure.
Uh, but that being said, Iran went from launching dozens to hundreds of missiles in a barrage to one here, two there, 10 maybe. Um, now they did launch one earlier this evening that was a little bit more significant. And I actually, whilst scrolling through looking for that post, have seen where it's possible that Iran launched a hypersonic missile. Uh,
I believe I saw that too.
unconfirmed, but that would be interesting if that is the case. That
Mhm.
means Iran is either just trying to throw everything they can at Israel, or they're okay. That's first of all, I don't exactly know who this is, so we're gonna go find out. It's Ayatollah Khamenei.
Oh, that's the supreme leader
Okay, that's what I
of
thought.
Iran. Yeah.
So he put out a statement that said, "We must give a strong response to the terrorist Zionist regime. Uh, he will show, or we will show the Zionists no mercy." But earlier I wager it's going to be also on this fine fellow's Twitter here.
So, okay.
And probably
I have.
completely unrelated news.
Uh-huh.
There's a Twitter account called Pentagon Pizza Report.
Yep.
The closest Papa John's to the Pentagon is experiencing a surge in traffic as of 5 o'clock this evening. That was a while ago. And I do know
But
that
still,
Trump had a call with Netanyahu, and then they had the National Security Council meeting after that. So, and I do not see. Can I just find this guy's Twitter? Is that up there? Oh my god, I can't. Nice. So
can I find the Supreme Leader of Iran's Twitter? Yes, nice.
unfortunately, I do not see the tweet from earlier. Where he's so maybe it was fake or not legit. I don't. I'm gonna get flagged by the FBI now. I
Hey, bud,
went
what's
to their
up?
website. You'd never guess. I can't understand any of it.
I was about to say, can you? Does it offer the Google Translate option?
Oh no, they actually put an English section on there for
Oh wow.
us uncultured folk, apparently. Beta version.
You know,
Okay.
I will say, Iranian is not on my list of languages to learn, but
No.
is it technically called Persian? Like, is it Persian? Is it Iranian? I don't know. I don't sound. I mean, I already sound ignorant as it is. I just don't want to sound more ignorant
I
than I
also
already am.
don't know, so I'm not gonna touch it.
Well, I
This is
I have well, I have something to add to this while you're looking at this because this is something that I find.
Go for it. Do you need your browser?
No.
Okay.
Well,
Alright.
I mean, if you want to for visual purposes, we can go to the browser. But
Done.
okay.
We like visuals here.
So yeah. So Air Force One has been up in the air since 5 p.m. this evening. The dog is barking. But yeah, Air Force One has been up in the air since 5 p.m. this evening. I just want to point out that it left from a very particular Air Force base, which I recognized this when I saw uh, the three-letter code there, which you can see clearly says bad. But that's the Barksdale Air Force Base in Shreveport, Louisiana. Okay. And would you like to guess what we have there?
Is that where the B2s are by chance?
Now add a 5 in front of the 2. That's where we have the B-52s.
That's what I meant.
Yes. So we have the B-52s there. Now, I don't again, this is me. This is not a news report, okay? I don't want anyone to find this. Now, if I'm right, I will take credit for it. But if I'm wrong, I didn't say anything.
You heard nothing.
Yeah. But what I could see that if Trump is on Air Force One right here that we're seeing, I could see there being a scenario where him as the commander in chief, being physically present for a brief on using B-52s to launch cruise missiles into Iran. Now, the question is, actually, wait a minute. Is there a live stream of the White House that you could look up?
I was just thinking about that to see if the flag is up and he's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at us. We did learn something in history class, baby.
So interesting. This was 4 hours ago, and it's from Rawls Alerts, and they are regularly wrong, I believe.
They're regularly very biased.
Yeah. Officials are reporting that President Donald Trump is set to deliver an urgent nationwide address soon.
Interesting.
Oh, wait. 1 hour ago. White House calls lid for the night. POTUS not scheduled to address the nation.
Interesting. So
I'm real confused. Yeah. Anyway,
yeah, because right now they've just done a loop around. You can see that North Carolina snippet that we're currently showing right now.
trying to find if where White House Live. I can't show the
feel like-
video, but I can look at it.
I was about to say, I feel like now I need to figure out if Barksdale's Pizza Hut.
The old flag is a flying.
So he's there.
So Air Force One's just doing its thing. Having
Right,
fun flying
but
around.
why? But why? Right.
Good question.
See, because there's a lot of nerds out there. Type in Order 01 on Twitter and see what that comes up with.
Like Order 01?
Yep, Order 01. So let's see. Yeah. What do we got
USAFE-4B Night Watch National Airborne Operations Center. Airborne and currently flying over the continental U.S. using the call sign Order 01. Order 01, airborne from Barksdale Air Force Base.
Yep.
Airborne over Louisiana. Converted 747-200 serving as the National Airborne Operations Center for a doomsday plane, apparently. This is routine. 1 E4B is on alert 24/7, 365. The airfield, plane, and flight path are random. This is routine.
Perfect. Okay, cool. Hey, see, kids, this is why we are looking this up. This is
Now,
why.
if you want to conspiracy theorist it, the doomsday plane is up
I
with
saw
call
it.
sign never seen before, because it's usually Order 66, according to this fine fella.
Execute Order 66.
There's a lot of all over the place on Twitter, but it is Twitter, so do with that what you will.
Correct. But I think that's just a good, I think that's why I wanted to bring this up, was just because, we're not inherently saying that like this is the case, but I mean, if the president was there for an in-person briefing and things of that nature, I mean, it would make sense if he was technically on a Air Force One type plane, but apparently this is just that doomsday plane that people are talking about. But no, I mean, this is good to know, and it just, yeah, kind of like what people were saying, it does seem to just be taking a random flight pattern, so nothing super super concerning at this time, at least now that we've done some more digging on this. So
Do you want some just absolutely fantastic news real quick?
are the Reds back on top?
6-5, TJ Friedel, bases clearing double. He's the best.
Oh my God, he's so good. He's so good.
And he won't even
He's
be
so
at the
good.
All-Star game because unfortunately he plays a
For the
position.
Cincinnati Reds.
Well, that.
I mean, who's going to take his spot?
One of the
Don't say
other-
Acuna. If you say Acuna, I'm leaving the stream right now.
No, I wouldn't.
Dude
think
didn't play
so,
for 3 months.
which unfortunately means
Nothing. Correct.
do I have to sign in?
Want want. But yeah, so going on this, I think it's just important to stay in the know and stay involved with a lot of this information, because I mean there is a lot that happens with this. I mean, this is a rapidly evolving situation between two reasonably powerful nations. I mean, and between two nations that really really don't like each other. Um and the United States finds itself very strongly allied to one of them. So, the United States has the big stick in this scenario, and you're going to find that we're going to swing that stick around. Whether you like it, I like it, Zachary likes it, whether anybody likes it or not, whoever the powers that be, if they want to do that, they will.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
So
I also thought it was interesting that Russia
yes,
launched their largest attack since everything started, and actually with drones and missiles, and actually did what sounded like pretty significant damage in Kyiv.
correct. I believe they completely collapsed a full apartment building.
Yeah. Iran was also supplying weapons to Russia.
Correct.
I do not believe they are now. But do we think this makes any difference at all to Russia, basically? And real quick, while you discuss, I'm going to let the dog out because she needs to go.
Okay. Um. Man, I would say yes. I think this does impact Russia in the long term, mostly because, while slow and ineffective, uh, to a Patriot system that the United States sent over to Ukraine, um, those Shahed drones that Iran has been pumping out, um, you know, the thing is that there's still something that you need to shoot down. You still need to find a way to get them out of the sky. So if you send 350 of them, and you only have 500 missiles, okay, well, let's just say you use a missile to shoot down each one, right? Okay, so now you have 150 missiles left, and then suddenly you get attacked with 200 cruise missiles. Well, guess what? 50 of those missiles, or 50 of those missiles are going to make it through because you don't have any missiles to stop them. So with Iran, bringing those Shahed drones and supplying them to Russia, of course that's going to, impact the Ukrainians' ability to defend themselves if they keep putting those drones in Russian hands. But if that starts to trickle away, then suddenly the Ukrainians have a chance to either, create more munitions in order to shoot down cruise missiles, or they're just not getting attacked as much, and they, can prepare better, they can mobilize assets better, they can protect more assets because they can kind of thin out their air defense. So I think, you know, overall, yeah, I think this could definitely be something that leans towards being supportive Ukraine writ large. That's if you see, now here's the thing too. If this turns into a full-blown regional conflict with the United States being involved, you do have to be concerned with Russia providing certain cruise missiles to Iran, or potentially like doing what the United States is doing in a sense, and like, we're not involved, but we'll sure lob a few things here and there. It's just like that's something that you have to be concerned about because um, Russia does have some hypersonic missiles, and uh, hypersonic missiles are notoriously difficult to shoot down if you do not have enough warning to shoot them down. I mean, I believe hypersonic is 10 times the speed of sound. That's what makes them hypersonic. Um, and while they still have the normal trajectory and ballistics of a cruise missile, like a normal cruise missile, you're still gonna find that speed matters because your time to respond as a anti-aircraft personnel or an anti-missile personnel, like an air defense personnel, like if you don't respond quick enough, that missile is going to get through. Like you have to be able to figure out. Basically, you have to figure out that it's a bogey. You have to identify what it is. You then have to give the clearance to launch a missile, and then the computer system that launches that missile to destroy the missile that's inbound to you has to make the calculations and then launch the missile. And then if you do all that before the missile hits you, great, congratulations, you protected yourself. But if they launch 100 of those, next thing you know, you're not going to get them all unless you're a wizard. And I mean, I'm sure that there's a lot of money that goes into or air defense weapons out there. So I'm sure I'm probably missing something. Believe it or not, I'm not a weapons expert when it comes to all the fun little toys that the United States, Russia, Ukraine, the entire world has. Um, maybe some weekend when I get bored, but not right now. But yeah, long story short, I definitely think that this is a net positive for Ukraine if this continues on, only for the sole fact that Iran is most likely not supplying munitions to Russia anymore.
So, other question. If the
Yes.
US does join in against Iran, does anyone at that point come to Iran's aid? Now, you kind of mentioned Russia there maybe starts handing them some equipment or something without getting directly involved, but do you think anybody else gets directly involved, or is Iran on their own?
Honestly, that is tough to say. I think that you could potentially have a couple here and there, but I think it's the same thing where Trump's going to make a very blatant ultimatum that, like, you know, you help them, you're on my list too. And I don't know how many countries want to be on that list because tariffs are one thing, right? Um, Explosions are another. So I don't see, unless it's another country that we've alienated to no end. Like, I mean, I don't think Iraq would join them. I don't think Syria would join them. I don't think Jordan would join them. Uh, I think Russia would like to just be like, sorry, bro, can't help you. I don't think China would do it. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think right now Iran is in a rock and a hard place for sure. That's just my opinion, though.
Yep, I would agree with that. I don't think at the moment there's anybody else that's really going to like try to take advantage of the situation. Uh, I don't think it's all of a sudden going to make this is all assuming the US got involved. I don't think all of a sudden China's going to want to start going after Taiwan, uh,
Right.
or anything like that. So Iran, I do believe, is just kind of on their own. And Trump has already called for their absolute surrender. So
Yeah, and now, so what does that look like though? Is that regime change? Is that like, is that I don't think this is the case, but I'm gonna just throw it out there. Is that like a boots on the ground, like an occupation scenario, like where you've got, the United States. I won't even say NATO because I don't think NATO would want to get involved, but you have
mm-mm.
United States troops in Iran. Like, I mean, I just
I
don't know.
I cannot imagine. I can, but a
Right,
scenario
we can
a
imagine these
scenario
things.
where we are sending troops to hang out in Iran. I do not see that happening. My guess,
Correct.
to be perfectly honest with you, is there's some kind of deal and this whole thing stops anyway. Um, but even if we did join and start using our bunker busters and uh, doing that whole thing, I don't think we ever send troops over there.
I think that is true, and
The
I
only
think
way I
that's
can
true.
see that really happening is if Iran has some kind of hidden capability where all of a sudden they just start hitting every U.S. embassy or as many U.S. Civilians or personnel as they can all of a sudden. But given that
Right.
Israel already has air superiority, uh, what like we don't need to send troops. Our planes can go in and do whatever they want because
Mhm.
Iran at this point doesn't have much left that can do anything about it. So there's
Correct.
sending troops in that regard is also just kind of a waste.
Correct. So now, but that's the thing. Let's say there's not a deal on the table, right? Let's say there's nothing in place. The supreme leader of Iran is just like, you know what? No, screw you. What do we do? And when I say we, I'm talking more from the Israel United States kind of just general overview. Like, what what do you do? Because you've got a adversary that has admitted multiple times that they're not going to do what you want them to do. Do you just keep bombing them in perpetuity? Because you're gonna miss at some point. You know what I mean? Like in the nicest way possible. You're going to hit something that you didn't mean to hit. And eventually the world's gonna look at you like, you should probably stop. And if you don't stop, we're gonna judge you a lot. So like, is that what they do? Do they like, or do they just go for the big swing? You know what I mean? Because apparently we know where the supreme leader is. Do we do we just hit him with the haymaker and drop a 2,000-pound bomb on his head, or do we like keep picking away at potentially these nuclear facilities and this other infrastructure and like keep twisting his arm until he says when? You know what I mean?
That would be my guess because from reading up about him, he is not at all interested in any kind of negotiations or anything. Uh,
Correct.
so it's gonna have to be if you don't surrender, you're getting annihilated. And they've already said
Correct.
they don't plan on assassinating him, but they also made it clear that, like you said, they do know where he's at, and they aren't going to assassinate him yet. Uh,
Right.
they've made it very clear that they, at least, if you take their words, at face value, they won't hesitate to take him out, but they're giving him an opportunity to surrender, make a deal, call it a day. But
Yeah,
I don't know that that happens at this point.
it's fair. Yeah, I just like that's kind of where I wonder like where it goes because y- I don't see, and I'm going to go here back to, so obviously you can see I'm still looking at this plane. I'm going to see where it eventually lands. But like, going back over here, right? Israel, I don't think is just going to waltz into Syria, cross through Iraq, and then invade Iran either. Because, I mean, I don't know if you guys can see this from the map, but I mean, this is a very mountainous region, and driving tanks through mountains is never a fun time, kids. I don't know if if you guys were aware, but and that's the thing is that Tehran is obviously through these mountain ranges that are um on the eastern side of Iraq, and you know now I will say in the past Iraq and Iran have not been great friends towards one another, um but I just don't see that happening. You know what I mean? Like, it's like yeah, I think it's just kind of one of the, like, what I think the most escalation that we'll see, like worst case scenario. Actually, worst case scenario is Russia gets involved and hands a couple of nukes to Iran and says, "Here, defend yourself with these." Then that's a problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like that, because
yeah,
they can absolutely do that.
that becomes a whole other thing at that point.
Correct. But that is the worst case scenario. because Russia could absolutely, without without anybody stopping them, they could transport some nuclear weapons through the Caspian Sea to Iran, right? And
Mm-hmm.
we wouldn't know. Like they would just hide the ship's transmitter. And I mean, I'm sure that the United States has some, recon and stuff in that area, but I'm sure they could stow it away in a ship and keep it hidden and ship a couple nukes to Iran and say, "Hey, help yourself, defend yourself." And I feel like that's what could happen if the United States goes like a full unmeasured response and just starts laying waste to every single military asset that Iran has. You know what I mean?
All right.
So, like, I don't, man, I don't know if that'll happen, but man, it would be real crazy if it did. I want to see if I can find one other website here. See, I think this will be a good idea, or give us a good idea. Yeah, so I mean, there's ships that traverse the Caspian Sea, quite obviously. To cough once, but like, you know, you can see that there's an oil tanker from Kazakhstan with I believe that's a Turkmenistan flag. But all it would take is a ship from one of these ports in southern Russia here to traverse the Caspian Sea, drop it off at Chalice or somewhere in that area, and then you've got a big problem. Like that, like you said, that completely changes the calculus on what you do. Did I mute myself? No,
No.
I did. Okay,
No.
yeah, we're good. But yeah, so just something to think about, like something like this, right? Something like this ship. You could throw a couple of nukes in here, and nobody would know,
Yeah.
unless I'm missing something, right? Unless
Mhm.
I'm missing something crazy. But it just seems to me that that's something that they could
If
do if they want to.
if Ukraine can get drones through boxes into Russia, and Israel can get drones through inboxes into Iran, I'm willing to bet you could maybe get tactical nuke or something in a ship into one of these countries.
Right, and I mean let's also point out the fact that they've like Iran has shipped many, many, many drones to Russia already. That's what I was saying. Like when you walked away, it's like, you know, Iran has been, supplying drones for quite some time at this point. So it's not exactly something that they wouldn't be able to do. Also, it does look like this Order 1 is going to be landing in uh, either Reagan or potentially uh, Baltimore Washington International, somewhere in there, because it is coming in for a landing. Looks like. Which also, funny enough as it is, uh, which will definitely stay on until this plane lands. Uh, but funny enough as it is, I wonder if like how it says that they have a plane up and operational like 24/7, 365.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what if this plane lands and another one doesn't pop up.
Gasp.
Gasp!
They lied. Filthy liars.
Right? Filthy liars. I just realized that though. I've never heard of a cap, like the White House being capped or whatever it was you said earlier.
Yeah,
I never heard of that.
I didn't. I wonder if I can find more about that. There was lid.
Lid, that's what it was. Sorry, I'm getting into severe weather thought cap.
Oh. Oh, yeah. So they basically .com.
Oh wow. Huh.
Which, yeah, who'd guess? A lid is what the White House press secretaries use to indicate there will be no news coming out of the White House that day. A presidential campaign can also call a lid when their candidate does not plan any more public events or appearances for the rest of the day. It can also be called a full lid. A lid can be called at any time of the day. It is an important signal for journalists, photographers, and other members of the press corps who need to know whether or not they will cover any more events that day. Once the lid's
Interesting.
called, reporters know that they will not miss any significant happenings if they leave the White House premises. So there you go. Now you know. Today we learned.
until they're just like, okay, lids off. It's like 12:01 a.m. Like lids off. Interesting. There you go. Politicaldictionary.com. Who'd have thought?
Yeah, I just clicked on bees and I'm scrolling through.
I see.
Ballyhoo.
uh
Interesting. We had some of them.
huh.
Field bandwagon. Barnstormer. Love that.
Barnstormer, yeah.
Bean counter.
Yep. Interesting.
Hey, there's Bell.
All right. Yep.
How about that?
Learn
Enjoy
something new every day.
3D Reds baseball. This isn't
All right.
illegal or copyright. Bite me. Not the television broadcast.
Um. Well, I will say, I feel like we've covered the Israel-Iran conflict for now sufficiently. Is there anything that you want to tell the people about the weather for tomorrow? Because the weather today, there was a moderate risk in Oklahoma.
Golly gee,
Willicles?
Oh boy. There sure
Golly
was, and
gee,
let me just bonk.
that poor Reds player just melted into the ground.
Fine, he'll be all right.
He'll
Yeah.
be that'll buff out.
Yeah. So today, ye old, as you mentioned, moderate risk, which is where you see basically all of the warnings at the moment. But fun fact, outside of this cluster and this cluster, this little storm isn't too impressive. But this one, 70-mile-an-hour winds, I mean, that'll get the job done.
That'll ruin your day if you're outside.
I know there's been a couple tornadoes today as well. But tomorrow, for those of you who may be in the Ohio vicinity, ye old enhanced risk for Northwest Ohio, slight risk down to east of Columbus, and then a marginal for the rest of the state. As Ohio does, and really this whole area, morning showers or early afternoon showers make or break this entire thing, basically. Better instability south, more kind of back into Illinois and Missouri, but better shear up into northern Indiana, northwest Ohio, and southern Michigan. If we don't see much in the way of rain, a little more instability is able to build, and it theoretically will not take much to get storms. So, more than likely, we do get some decent storms tomorrow. Tornado threat's not super high for most of Ohio, but it's not zero. It is definitely not zero. If we get any actual supercells that come in instead of a line, the tornado threat's a little bit higher. If we get just a line, the tornado threat is much lower, but the damaging wind threat goes up at that point. Lapse rates are going to be pretty meh, so I don't expect to see a bunch of hail. There will be some, but it shouldn't be too large. So damaging winds will be the big thing across the entire enhanced risk zone, realistically, and then damaging winds outside of that. Yeah.
Gotcha. Are you curious as to if they will die out as they get to our area, or are they going to?
If
I
the
mean,
system slows
obviously,
down, they might, but the timing wise, it looks like they'll be coming in hopefully early enough. It'll still be daylight or just after sunset. So I think once you get past about Sandusky there, uh, they'll probably start losing steam in a hurry.
okay.
But I think you're Indiana in Northwest Ohio. I think that's where you've still got the best chance of storms. But let me take a look at a machine learning product here. Day 2, never mind, because it is like in between runs currently.
Oof.
Therefore, I can show the last run once I figure out how to get this back. I
Whew.
did a thing,
Excuse me. Apparently, it's nap time.
just about, honestly.
Mm.
So we heard of that. Pop this back in. This is the Colorado State University machine learning output, just showing you kind of the different hazards based on their machine learning. This brown in the top left box is the tornado probabilities. The dark brown is 5%, but 5% ain't nothing, especially around this area. 5% seems to do pretty well. And it does go into a little bit into Western Ohio, but a much broader 2% around that. But wind, which is this bottom left picture here, definitely seems like it's going to be the bigger threat. It'll be interesting. If we end up with even just a little bit more instability, I think the day becomes a lot more interesting.
Interesting. Do you look at the SIPS analogs very much?
No, I do not. Not typically.
Oh,
Mm,
oh. Well, they have a percent of one or more severe event within 110 kilometer percentage of top 15 analogs exceeding one severe weather report within 110 kilometers of a grid point. Uh, Central Ohio has an 80 to 90% chance.
How about that?
It is the highest chance on the map.
I'm gonna read this real quick. Taking a
Which I
look
will say,
at your friend
forecast
and
discussion.
mine. No. Pivotal
Oh,
weather. So models.
yes, I have been looking at. I will look at the forecast discussion.
There you go. Share this tab and
I will
stuff.
say, Eastern Ohio and quite frankly, our part of Ohio, we don't need more rain.
Correct. That's quite enough.
Correct. All right,
And
forecast discussion.
your HRRR, and you want to go composite reflectivity. And then let's take a
Huh.
peek at the
Okay,
0Z because it's in.
this update was made 2 hours ago. I'll just read this off. The only minor change with the local forecast was to move up the arrival time for thunderstorms a bit closer to the late afternoon for eastern Indiana and western Ohio. 12Z model guidance suggests the potential for a southward extending line of convection with compact and prefrontal trough, which will provide an initial chance for severe weather across the enhanced threat area and perhaps as far south as the tri-state. And perhaps as far south of the tri-state. That seems worded weird. How far south this activity reaches will determine the arrival time for the rest of the local area. Even they're talking about the very very like early morning stuff. Got it. Even with the initial round potentially only impacting northwestern portions of the area, instability is expected to persist into the evening as the next round of forcing moves into the Ohio Valley. Storm clusters and broken line segments are expected to move across the area during the evening hours, decreasing in intensity towards midnight as they move east. The primary threat remains damaging winds, with tornadoes a possibility within the favorable segments of the thunderstorm line features. Any hail threat would likely be isolated to when storms initially developed west of the area and into the northwestern portions of the local area. Wow, pretty much exactly what Zachary just said. How does it feel to be right?
You know, sometimes I know what I'm talking about. Now,
It's almost like
the 0Z HRRR and all of its infinite wisdom,
uh
instability is, at least for Ohio, is a problem. Indiana, maybe less of a problem.
Mhm.
But so things may start to peter out. The instability is not nothing, but it's not. Like this is a
Mhm.
pretty decent sounding out of what would be north of Indianapolis, but
Mhm.
yeah,
I'd say I've seen, some of the soundings don't look, terrible. It's just, getting a thunderstorm to be isolated to a point where it can actually, you know, tap into the wind fields that it needs to is unlikely.
yeah. I mean, there's your little storm that sounding is predicting basically. So you
Mhm.
got you pretty hefty line from about south of Indianapolis down into kind of Illinois, Kentucky, Missouri, that whole area, and then more of a
Right.
broken band up in the north side of the state
What
and
type
into
of band is it?
southern Michigan, C
Like
band.
folk or oh, it's just a C band. Oh,
Yeah. Uh,
so like, does it do sea shanties?
no.
Oh.
It's not.
By the way, it does look like that plane is landing at Joint Air Force Base Andrews.
Checks out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this
So
sounding is
I like how it says destination not available, but yet we can pretty clearly see where it's going.
yeah. The sounding's not as bad if you want storms. It's
Mhm.
not great. There might be a little bit of convective contamination with that little cap at the bottom, but 81 over 70 is not too bad.
I was about to say, I feel like dew points are going to be pretty high. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
dew
been a
points.
swamp.
Yeah, dew
It's
points
been a swamp up here recently.
not much of a problem. Let's take a look at those dew points, shall we? I mean, heck, early in the morning, dew points are in the 70s, and then it looks like they maybe mix out a little bit through the day, but they're still upper 60s, pushing 70. If
So,
the dew
go
points
ahead.
are higher and actually get into the low 70s, well, that is also an entirely different game. Which what time is this? 13C.
Mhm.
The NAM 3K keeps dew points a little bit higher for a little bit longer, it looks
Mhm.
like. So that's interesting. What does it have in the way of Army Boys? I did not. A few rogue showers out there, but not much. It'll be interesting. Very interesting.
So that's you're looking at the
This is
zero
the
Z. I wonder what the 18Z looked like.
bulk.
Just because it goes out a little bit farther.
Yeah, roughly the same. 18Z data is garbage most of the time, though. Oh, although that's probably a pretty nice windy
Hefty
event.
line.
Yeah. Maybe your embedded
So now,
spinny boys in there.
so no D word.
Nah, I can't imagine. That's more of a loaded gun sounding. What? Hello?
Yeah, that looks very supercellular. It's saying that there's quite the cap above, which I
Um,
wouldn't I
I don't.
wouldn't
Yeah,
potentially
I
I
don't know
wouldn't
about that
trust
one.
that.
I don't know about that one.
Right. I mean, like we've said, there's not exactly a bunch of dry air around here right now. Whether
Yeah.
that's in the upper atmosphere or the mid levels of the atmosphere or at the ground, the ground is pretty saturated, or the air is pretty saturated at this point.
Yeah, it is. When I opened the door to let the dog out, the soupy air just hit me in the face, and I wanted to cry.
Yeah, you're just like,
It's
yeah,
absolutely gross.
yeah. Um. So let's see here. So yeah, the aircraft has landed at Joint Base Andrews.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. And they have not turned off their transponder yet, so I can look and see exactly what hangar they're pulling into. Hey, look, conveniently enough, they're pulling into Air Force One hangar.
But no way.
Actually, wait. Okay, yeah, they're on the tarmac. Yeah, so here. Oh, they're actually not pulling into Air Force One hangar. They're pulling up to a building just south of that.
So you lied to all of our people.
Correct.
How dare you?
Correct. And I'm just going to pull this in for visual purposes. So yeah, they're pulling into this building right here.
Interesting.
Yeah. By the way, I don't want to be that guy, but those don't look like soccer fields.
They could be. Could be dual purpose. Put the goals in the outfield.
They could be. All right, so the plane is now. Yeah, they turned off the transponder. So the plane's just going to drift into oblivion.
Bye.
Oh no! Wait, no. Oh wait, no. They did get a signal. They left it on. It just wasn't signaling back. That's weird. Where the hell is this thing going? Did it just like it went like this way and it was like, okay, I'm just.
Maybe they did turn it off, and it's just it's they're going wherever their little hearts desire.
Actually, wait. Now I'm convinced that I'm losing my mind here. Oh no, I'm acoustic. So they landed on this runway. They went here. Now they're going up. This is fun. Yeah. So they landed on the runway. They went over here, and now they're going up this way. So now if they make a left turn, they're Air Force One. If they keep going straight, then they're going to the passenger terminal. They're going to pick people up.
Why not? Huh?
Where are we heading, boys?
Switch crews. Whoa.
Right. Excuse
Meow.
me, sir. Sir. Wait. Actually, wait.
Maryland State Police. That's fun.
Right. Just vibing. Like.
Why not? Yes.
This is the most fascinating portion of the show. Screw everything else we were talking. The plane's right here. Yeah, see, Andrew, FAA.
Yeah.
Plane's right here. Just cruising right along.
Maybe it's gonna fool you, and it's just gonna turn around and take off.
I mean, that'd be kind of cool if it did. Not gonna
Just
lie.
gets back on the runway and takes back off.
I mean, it does say it needs to be open 24. Okay. Imagine it'd be really badass if they could do this, but imagine if they could fuel it while it's like moving on the tarmac. That's kind of nuts, actually. Also, I just love how that American Airlines plane was just like, hey, we're gonna fly over Air Force One right now. Okay, bye.
Right?
Which yeah, where are you heading? Huh? Tell me where you're heading. Burlington to the coat factory?
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, up here. To the coat factory? Buddy is just moving at approximately 15 miles an hour to the north. Oh, oh,
Oh, womp womp.
boo. It's all right. I just had to refresh. It's still there. Oh
Nope.
wow. Hey, we figured out where it's landing.
Turning.
Oh, is it turning? It's a D
Surprise! It's
Street.
gonna
D
go.
Street.
Gonna go just park in with the rest of the planes.
I was about to say, yeah, it's turning in like right here. I
Imagine if
like
there
how
was an
there's
Andrews Air Force Base webcam.
uh,
Let me just take a
is
peek
there?
at the base. No, I
That's-
strongly doubt it.
Time for Google.
Oh no. First of all, if there is America, what are we doing?
Joint Base Andrews is open.
I'm willing to bet
They have a nice.
they're not.
What?
Do you think if I showed up there and was just like, "Hey, I heard you guys are open," they'd let me in?
You
Google
could say
said
it's
you're
what it
open.
says on your website. It's what it says on your website.
Oh, better.
All right. Buddy, where are you going?
Don't judge them.
You know, I want to point this out to anyone when they're watching. So just remember, even if you're Air Force One, sometimes it still takes 20 minutes to taxi.
Air Force One is not immune from airport delays.
Correct. Are we stopped? 6 miles an hour. Oh, we're picking back up. There was a way to switch it to, like switch the imagery to satellite, and totally forget how to do that.
Uh, in the top right where it says VFW map or whatever that is. Rip.
Yeah,
Maybe
it was like
surprised it's a paid feature now.
huh. Well, I thought it was like right here when I opened it up one time. All right,
Maybe you have to sign in to be able to do it.
Yeah, I didn't think that it was. Oh, there it is. Satellite. Oh, there we go.
Done
I'm
it.
just dumb.
Oh, have they actually stopped now?
Let's say it's nope. Well, I mean, sure looks like it.
All right. Well, there you go.
All right, yeah. Well, order. Oh, and they're gone.
Poof.
Yeah, Thanos snapped. Yep. Nope. I still want it. Give it to me.
Give her back.
Yeah. Right. All right. Well, now that's weird. It's still showing it there. Now the most tracked flight is the Jordanian flight.
Interesting.
Yeah. Which I mean, I can get why because it's one of the flights that's actually in this zone of do not go here.
Checks out.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that leaves us on a good spot to call the episode, wouldn't you say?
I think so. This was just a whole hodgepodge of mostly Israel and Iran and some other random crap.
Yeah. But I mean, honestly, we covered exactly what the title said, so I feel like
That's true.
we didn't
We did
mislead
good.
our viewers. So,
That's right.
yeah.
Some good conversation in there.
Of course. All right. Well, without further ado, I just want to go ahead and say thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll be on the lookout for some more frequent episodes to be posted from the program that we're putting together for y'all. But outside of that, we greatly appreciate your time. feel free to like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. And we look forward to giving you the news hopefully next week. And we'll go from there. Outside of that, I'm Zach, or I'm Brian, along with Zach. I
Are
need
you
a nap,
now?
apparently. Identity theft is not a joke. But in the show's live, there's no editing, so that'll be the death of us one of these days. But anyways, we will see you all next week. Take care, everybody.
Creo que estoy haciendo. Take